Hello and welcome to the Promptsmith's Almanac. My name is Josh, and tonight we are going to talk about writing a song from inspiration from a video or an image, using visual media to make a song. So, being the Bob Dylan fan that I am, there is one Dylan clip that captured me very specifically and grabbed me by the lapels, so to speak. So if you're familiar with Bob Dylan or not, he played an important role, musically speaking, in U.S. history as well. He played at the March on Washington, which is just about as incredible as it gets for an artist. He was literally a part of history in that moment. He played a few songs. One of the songs that he played is one of my favorite from his acoustic era, his folk acoustic era, and that is When the Ship Comes In, which allegedly was written because of his mistreatment by a particularly perturbed motel owner, according to Joan Baez. So when I watch this video of him performing this song, there's something that sticks out that isn't really all that normal when it comes to Bob Dylan performances. And that is that Bob Dylan literally trips over his words. Now, this is a video that I was not able to find on YouTube, and I actually had to Google it to find it on Facebook. And if you Google Bob Dylan March on Washington When the Ship Comes In, it should come up, as I believe his page shared it on Facebook a few years ago. And at around the 2-minute and 14-second mark, as he's getting to a line about the sands rolling out a carpet of gold, he trips over his words on that line. And so that got me thinking, okay, I wonder what must have been going through his head. Bob Dylan here has to be 20, 21, 22 years old at the March on Washington. And he's performing literally in front of hundreds of thousands of people at this historic event that even in the moment had to have felt momentous. And he stumbles a bit. Now, that's the only time that he stumbles, but it happens. And so psychologically, I'm thinking, okay, Bob Dylan the person, let's create Bob Dylan the character in this moment and kind of dissect it a bit. So I did that and came up with a song called Wild Mercury Zaps Capitol Hill. So we're going to listen to it and we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of imagery was inspired and where it was derived, and how images and film can really be a great shortcut into just coming up with some really awesome specificity, some awesome images, and songwriting craft. So let's give it a listen.
I once opened for God atop Capitol Hill, as they called me a fraud. His own countrymen killed him. Felt just like Jesus the night he was taken, shaking, still shouting mere miles from my stage. Plugged in and played louder, Enigma enabled engage. Bring your best cutlery, singe on it bites. This king's coming down, Martin Luther, my likeness. Play on that vision, the one in E flat. Let no one among you ask where their creator is at. Satan runs rampant inside of that ivory temple to freedom and peace. Constructed in slavery, true blue human lunacy. Lucifer spilling more tea, goddamn oxymorons, Tom bittersweet democracy. Autocrat laugh, looting, lovesick creativity. But the body is hollow, this holy word ain't gonna bleed. So bring your best cutlery, sing Johnny Baez. This king's coming down, Martin Luther, my likeness. Play on that vision, the one in E flat. Let no one among you ask where their creator is at. Existence a grimace. This gift I've been given. One song for Woody is Ream, splendid, endless. Mine a sick thicket of thorns in the side. Distilled your damn essence, the crows, they just cast us aside. 194 cherubim seconds. How else could I summon the stairway to heaven? Heard your small voice and I lived out my call. Hold things up on YouTube, share one, share all. Tripped on my tongue so the carpet stayed rolled. None of the hundreds of thousands saw gold. Ridiculous labels that I have a dream, and I knew you were with us. I wanted to scream it, but you wouldn't let me. Those lingering doubts traded empty folks singing for a rock and roll cloud. Bring your best cutlery, sing Joni by. Ooh, this king's coming down. Martin Luther, my likeness. I play him that vision, the one in E flat. Let no one among you ask where their creator is at. Sebastian in concerts, all blood on the tracks. Your ink strokes imprinted, I couldn't relax. You threw him a fruit from your lyrical tree. Magic and music in me. Convinced myself magic existed in dreams, but then I remembered the dreamer came true. I sang to the sea, my most time-tested tune, and only God heard me, and only I saw you. Now I'm clicking this link, refreshing incessantly. I'll sail away soon, but I need me that memory. Bring your best cutlery, sing Joni Baez. Ooh, this king's coming down. Martin Luther, my likeness. I play him that vision, the one in E flat. Let no one among you ask where their creator is at.
All right, so let's talk about how we got there, because there's obviously a lot to unpack. So we're actually going to pull up the lyrics themselves, because that's really the only way to explain a song like this. And there's a lot to take away from it as well. Apparently it's only in my emails. All right, so we start with this opening line: I once opened for God atop Capitol Hill. And that's a pretty attention-grabbing line. So if I'm doing a song about the March on Washington, the scope of that has to be pretty grand. So it has to have that kind of line to it. Now, what's great about this moment historically is we have, the way I see it, a couple of folks who are being used almost as instruments and messengers, if you want to take a biblical slant to this. Now, I think you can do that whether you're into that belief system or not, because of the literary value that it has. You know, it's kind of a Rosetta Stone launching point for a lot of metaphors and characterizations. And so being able to use that in the context of this event really makes for an interesting piece of art, in my opinion. So we have this aura of persecution that Dylan's character will eventually go through, and he's almost going back to this moment in time as, you know, an ideal of sorts. So we have here, of course, the felt just like Jesus the night he was taken, shaken, still shouting mere miles from my stage, plugged in and played louder, Enigma enabled engage, which is an homage to Dylan going electric in that era, after the March on Washington, of course. So then we get to the chorus: bring your best cutlery, sing Joni Baez. So Joan Baez actually sings with Dylan when the ship comes in is being performed. She sings part of, you know, the words of the chorus, but she also adds some really great oohs and ahs that are vocal harmonies that she was known for back in those times. And so that was incorporated here as well. As you heard the ooh, that is very much an homage to Joan Baez and her vocal artistry. So then we bring in MLK, and we have to, because it's the March on Washington. And some folks remember that, yeah, Bob Dylan was there, but that's not what the march is broadly remembered for. It's remembered for the I Have a Dream speech. So we have this Dylan character, and now we have this MLK character who is essentially God in this moment, because that is the instrumentation that is channeling outward to the hundreds of thousands who are at this event. So then we get to verse 2. It's a 4-verse song with a chorus. So it's very simple structure, which I wanted it to be that way because it's a folk song. So we've got Satan runs rampant inside of that ivory tower to freedom and peace. So now we're present day. Like, this is, true blue human lunacy, constructed in slavery, true blue human lunacy, Lucifer spilling more tea. So we're, sharing more about how rough things are presently politically. As we jump through time quite a bit for this is very much an Americana kind of folk song, but it's got a modern bent to it because I think the story is still being told. So then we have that great transition to the chorus with that rhyme scheme. So bring your best cutlery. And then we get back into Sing Joni Baez and then Martin Luther coming down. The Vision in E flat, I think I guessed right on the key that When the Ship Comes In is in, only because I've ever played it on guitar on Capo 3. So, I hope I'm right on that, but who knows? I don't know what his tuning was for his strings. So then we get to verse 3, which is probably my favorite. Existence a grimace, this gift I've been given. One song for Woody, his ream splendid, endless. So this is the song to Woody, which was really the first original Dylan song that took off, or that got him noticed, really. I mean, it wasn't a radio hit or anything, but some influential folks heard it and they're like, this guy's onto something. And having that admiration still for Woody, his idol, and not feeling like his stuff is fully measuring up, whether that was the case or not. I think that's important. For every artist has doubts, and I'm sure Dylan did too. 194 cherubim seconds. This is speaking to the fact that Dylan was so young when he wrote this, and so many other incredible timeless classics. But that would be 3:14, which I believe is the length of When the Ship Comes In. How else could I summon the stairway to heaven? Heard your small voice and I lived out my call. Whole things on YouTube. Not anymore, but it was at one point. Share one, share all, but it is on Facebook. Tripped on my tongue so the carpet stayed rolled. And again, this is where the crux of the song, this is how the whole song unfolded, was that one line, tripped on my tongue so the carpet stayed rolled. It's like, well, what if, there was an alternate universe where Dylan's able to sing the song perfectly and the world lives happily ever after. And they just needed to hear that, and the hundreds of thousands are inspired, and they just go back to, their towns, communities, and everyone changes the world and, comes together, all of that. What if that was what happened, and that one mistake was what butterfly affected everything? None of the hundreds of thousands saw gold. So again, he's saying, if I hadn't made that one mistake, maybe, just maybe, those words would have come through. I knew you were with us, I wanted to scream it. Yeah, but you wouldn't let me. Those lingering doubts traded empty folk singing for rock and roll cloud. Again, that's speaking to Dylan going electric. Back to the chorus again. And then the fourth verse is interesting to me. I actually took this from a bit of rock history that I read about the Love and Spoonful with John Sebastian writing Do You Believe in Magic? Now, not super known for the lyricism there, but the line that always stood out to me in Do You Believe in Magic is, the magic's in the music and the music's in me. I always thought that was a really clever way of saying, hey, I'm magical. And, whether you're hitting on someone or trying to impress someone, it's a pretty cutesy, clevery way to do that. So I'm like, okay, every once in a while, even songwriters that don't have the batting average that Dylan does get a line like that. And Dylan can almost be attuned to that, his character anyhow. And I was like, okay, I know where that came from. And then he talks about magic, because now it's like, okay, now that we're on the subject, convinced myself magic existed in dreams, but then I remembered the dreamer came true. I sang to the sea. Now this is, again, the more biblical sea, broader, like the masses of people at the March on Washington. My most time-tested tune, and I will go toe-to-toe with any Dylanologist that When the Ship Comes In is quite probably his most like from the earth kind of song. Now you could make a case for A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, you could make a case for Girl from the North Country, but for me it's When the Ship Comes In. Now we're in the present day again. Now I'm clicking this link, watching this video, refreshing incessantly. I'll sail away soon, so now he's on the ship in actuality, and sailing away as in, you know, being dying and leaving this world, but I need me that memory. So he needs that reminder that, I have that one mistake. If I had gotten that right, you know, who knows what that would have inspired. So one mistake in a song, you know, 62 years ago inspired these lyrics. And whether you're looking at a painting or a photograph, or you're watching a short or a long form video on YouTube, you never know. If you just get a pen, open up a Google Doc and write. If you like this video, do hit the like button, subscribe as well, and share too. Trying to build more of a songwriting community here, and I will have the prompt pack for what I prompted Suno, as well as the lyrics. I'll put that in the description. And yeah, let me know what other genres or song topics you want me to cover. Thanks so much for watching.